Welcome back to Anime Hour. I'm your host, the Anime Guy, and today we'll be jumping into the exciting world of My Hero Academia and ranking some of the most iconic villains in a tier list. And yes, I've added a few movie villains to spice it up a bit. But before we get started, keep in mind that this tier list is pure speculation and in my personal opinion. So if you feel like a villain should be ranked higher or lower, please let me know down in the comment section. But with that out of the way, let's get started with our first villain. Let's start today's list off with a very well-known villain in the community. We have everyone's favorite hero killer, Stain. Stain is a skilled assassin with the quirk Blood Curdle, which allows him to paralyze and immobilize his opponent by ingesting samples of their blood. This can be easily done given that Stain uses a katana to injure his targets and draw blood from them. Aside from immobilizing his targets, Stain has an impressive strength, speed, and agility, thus making his attacks quick and his evasiveness incredible. Stain is by far the only true villain on today's list. The current hero society has turned Stain into this monster, losing faith in the system and taking up the mantle as the great anti-hero. For today, Stain easily falls in the B tier category. Up next, we have the beautiful Toga Himiko. Now, don't let her innocence fool you. She's probably the second most sadistic character on today's list. She has the quirk Transform. This allows her to transform into anyone. This includes copying their voice and their personality, and all she needs to do is drink their blood. Really, you can't get more sadistic than that. She's practically a vampire. Let's not forget that her transformation isn't just superficial. Toga also gains access to the target's memories and abilities for a short period. This makes her incredibly versatile and an unpredictable opponent, as she can impersonate anyone she samples blood from. Infiltrating hero organizations and gathering information comes easy when you have the perk Transform. Toga Himiko is not just physically powerful, she is also skilled at psychological manipulation. Her innocence and seemingly harmless demeanor often allows her to lure her victims into a false sense of security. She uses her understanding of human emotion and vulnerability to exploit heroes and civilians alike, setting up traps or manipulating situations to her advantage. This easily puts her in the C tier category for today's video. Up next, we have a fan favorite, Dabi. He has the powerful fire-based quirk called Cremation. This quirk allows him to generate and control blue flames at will. His flames are exponentially hot and can reach extremely high temperatures, making them deadly in combat. If you thought Toga was downright evil and sadistic, Dabi makes Toga look like an angel. You really get a taste of Dabi's twisted dark side in the most recent season when he battles Todoroki and the #1 hero, Endeavor. But what really makes Dabi so deadly and ranked so high on today's list? Well, it's a mix between his quirk, which is very deadly. It can be used in various purposes, including offensive attacks, defensive barriers, and even precise control over their intensity and direction. Now, mix all of that in with true hatred for the heroes, and you have Dabi sitting comfortably in the A tier category. Next, we have the tallest villain on today's list. We have Gigantomachia, who sits at a whopping 66 feet. If that's not shocking enough, just wait till you hear about his quirks. Now, Giganttamachia has a total of 7 different quirks, 6 of them given to him by All For One. His original quirk is Endurance, which allows him to convert his morale to physical energy and strength. Getting into the 6 quirks that were given to him, #1 is Dog. This enhances his sense of smell, hearing, and sight, similar to those of a dog. Next is Energy Saver. This allows him to conserve nutrients and water, which means he doesn't need to eat or sleep very often. Next is Fierce Gains, making his muscles become even more durable and robust. Up next is Gigantification. The more agitated and excited he becomes, the more he can grow, which he's been recorded to be at a whopping 82 feet at his maximum. Up next, we have the quirk Mole. This allows him to grow mole-like claws from his fingers, spines on his back, and a visor for his face, allowing him to dig through the earth quickly and easily. Lastly, we have the quirk Pain Blocker. This one's simple. It makes him unable to feel pain, which makes him even more dangerous in battle. Even with all of those quirks, Gigantomachia falls into the A tier category. For starters, he's not unstoppable. He's been defeated by others on today's list, and he's also been stopped by several heroes on several occasions, most recently the students from class 1A and 1B. Next on the list, we have Danjuro Tobita. more commonly known as Gentle Criminal. His quirk is elasticity. This quirk allows him to make objects, including his own body, temporarily elastic. He can use this ability to manipulate surfaces, giving him the power to create spring-like effects. By utilizing his elasticity, he can perform feats such as launching himself high into the air or repelling projectiles. Gentle Criminal really gave that main character Deku a run for his money in the Gentle Criminal arc, almost causing him to miss out on a school function. But where does Gentle Criminal fall on today's list? Well, he finds a comfortable spot in the D tier category, and that's for one reason. He's not all that powerful all on his own. In the Gentle Criminal arc, he had his powers amplified by none other than Manima, more commonly known as La Brava. Her quirk is called Love, which is not a combat-oriented perk, but is based on intense affection. When she feels strong or admiration for someone, her quirk activates, granting her an incredible boost in physical abilities, including strength and speed. Without La Brava, Gentle Criminal would only be gentle and not a criminal at all. That's how weak he is. Gentle Criminal finds a spot in the D tier category. If you thought Gigantamachia's 6 quirks were a lot, our next villain has even more. We have the baddest villain on today's list, All For One. He is the main antagonist and more known as the symbol of evil, and for good reasons. He has immense power and influence in the world. All For One's quirk is All For One. This allows him to steal other people's quirks and wield them as his own. He has stolen hundreds of quirks over the years, and he is able to combine them to create devastating attacks. Aside from stealing tons of quirks, he is known as a master strategist and tactician. He is able to manipulate people and events to his advantage, and he is always one step ahead of his enemies. His current plan started in season 1, and it's finally being executed in the current season. So my man knows how to play the long game. With a combination of the most powerful quirk and his ability to strategize and plan, this puts him in the S tier category. But the main question is, who can rival All For One? Our next villain could be mistaken for a Ninja Turtle. We have Shuichi Iguchi, more commonly known as Spinner. Spinner was born with a mutant type quirk called Gecko. This gives him a reptilian appearance and allows him to cling to walls. However, his quirk is not very powerful. Despite his lack of physical strength, Spinner is a dangerous opponent due to his fanatic devotion to Shigaraki and his willingness to do whatever it takes to achieve Shigaraki's goals. Even with the most recent power-up he received from All For One, this only makes him even more dangerous. Spinner is a valuable asset to the villains when they go up against the heroes in the final war, and he is sure to play an important role in the outcome to the conflicts. For today, Spinner spun his way into the D tier category. One of the most ruthless villains is next on the list. We have Chisaki, more commonly known as Overhaul. He is the leader of the Yakuza organization. He is a powerful villain with a dangerous quirk called Overhaul. This allows him to disassemble and reassemble matter at will. Overhaul is a ruthless and ambitious individual. He believes that the current hero society is corrupt and flawed, and he is determined to create a new world order where the strong rule the weak. Even though he is this dangerous villain, he is a massive germaphobe. That's weird, right? But what makes Overhaul rank so high on today's list? Well, it's his Overhaul quirk. It is extremely versatile and destructive. He can use it to attack his enemies, defend himself, and even heal his injuries. Second of all, Overhaul is very intelligent and a skilled fighter. Watching Overhaul in battle, it makes it feel like he's one step ahead of his opponents. Lastly, Overhaul is completely ruthless. He is willing to do anything to achieve his goals, and he has no regard to human life. As much as I wanted to put Overhaul into the S tier category, I feel like there's others in today's list that are way stronger and more dangerous. For today, Overhaul hauled himself into the A tier category. Our next villain is by far one of my favorites. From the Forest Training Camp arc to his overall character design, we have the most roided out jock on today's list. We have Goto, more commonly known as Muscular. Muscular's quirk is called Muscular Augmentation. This quirk allows him to amplify, manipulate, and augment his muscles and layers inside and outside his body, granting him increased strength, speed, and durability. Muscular is extremely sadistic and violent. He enjoys inflicting pain onto others, and he's not afraid to use his full power to kill someone. This makes him a very dangerous opponent, and he's even more powerful than some of our heroes. If there were any moments in My Hero Academia that made me love this series, it was when Deku went toe-to-toe with Muscular. This is by far one of the most intense fights. We have Deku still getting used to his new quirk and having to put everything out on the line to defeat Muscular. I believe Muscular played a crucial role in Deku's overall character development. Even though he's my favorite villain in the entire series, he easily ranks in the C tier category for today's video. Our next villain plays a major role in the anime, and his death sets off a chain of events. We have the villain Twice. He has the quirk Double. This allows him to create clones of people and things by touching them. The clones are perfect copies of the original, and they even have similar personalities and quirks. Twice can create as many clones as he wants, but there's a catch. There's a limit to how many clones he can maintain at once. Twice's quirk is incredibly powerful, which makes him a valuable asset to the League of Villains. He's known to have utilized his quirk to create armies of clones to overwhelm his enemies, and he has even been able to copy heroes like Eraser and All Might. For today's video, Twice ranks in the B tier category. With All for One in need of a successor, our next villain takes up that mantle. We have Tomaru Shigaraki. He is the grandson of the 7th wielder of the All for One quirk. Shigaraki's quirk is called Decay. This allows him to disintegrate anything he touches. His quirk is incredibly powerful and has the potential to destroy entire cities. This doesn't even take into account the quirks and abilities he receives after he accepts All for One's abilities, which makes him even more invincible. Shigaraki was trained by All for One since he was a child, which amplifies his skillfulness as a fighter and his brain for tactical plans and operations. It was easy to rank Shigaraki. He's the successor for All for One. Shoot, he was trained by All for One. All for One was ranked in the S tier category. It only makes sense to rank Shigaraki in the S tier category as well. If you made it this far in the video, then I have a surprise for you. We have 3 My Hero Academia movie villains that need to be ranked. We have 9 from the movie My Hero Academia Heroes Rising. Then we have Wolfram from the movie My Hero Academia 2 Heroes. And lastly, we have Flect Turn from the movie My Hero Academia World Heroes Mission. Out of these 3, the easiest to rank was Flect Turn. He ranks in the B tier category. In terms of villains, especially for full-length movies, the fight between him and Deku was kind of a bust. In terms of overall excitement, I think there are other movie villains that did a better job in terms of raw power. Up next, we have the villain from My Hero Academia 2 Heroes. We have the villain Wolfram. He has 2 quirks, from muscle enhancing, which allows him to temporarily increase his muscle mass and his strength to superhuman levels, and he has the quirk Mettle Manipulation, which allows him to control metal at will. Wolfram easily ranks in the A tier category for multiple reasons. Given his quirk enhances towards the end of the movie, this really gave the legend himself, All Might, a run for his money. Comparing both Wolfram and Flect Turn is a no contest. By watching both, you can easily see who is far superior. Now our final movie villain is by far one of the better movie villains for the My Hero Academia series. From the movie My Hero Academia Heroes Rising, we have the villain 9. He has the quirk called Weather Manipulation, which allows him to control weather itself. He can create deadly thunderstorms, tornadoes, and even lightning strikes. However, his quirk does take a toll on his body, causing him cellular degeneration. The reason he's ranked in the S tier category is due to his second quirk. His second quirk is similar to All for One's quirk, which allows him to steal and use other people's quirks. This gives him a wide range of abilities, including superhuman strength, speed, and durability, thus slotting him in the S tier category. And there you have it, some of the most well-known villains in My Hero Academia ranked in a tier list. Thank you so much for watching. Are there any villains you would have added? If so, where would they have been placed on today's list? Comment down below which villain that is. Don't forget to subscribe to Anime Hour for more anime videos. If you're looking for more anime videos, check out these 2 videos on screen. The one on the left is the Ultimate Anime Rulebook, and the one on the right is the ranking of the Magic Knight captains from the anime Black Clover. Thank you so much for watching. Now go out there and go watch some anime.